video I'm going to be talking about a subject that tends to confuse people until they get the feel for it. It's one of those that if you think about it too much, it can seem quite confusing. If you feel it and you just go with it, you probably won't even notice that you're doing it. What I'm talking about is the phenomena of swing in 4/4 rhythms. So in both hornpipes and reels, there are two ways you can play the tune, and actually there's a whole kind of sliding spectrum between those. It's particularly noticeable in hornpipes, where they are generally played very swung. So in order to demonstrate a little bit what the difference between a swung and a straight version of a hornpipe would sound like, I'm going to play a hornpipe called The Rights of Man, which I released in one of my recent play-along videos. So if you'd like to practice playing along with a swung version of this hornpipe, which is a really great way of practicing, it comes up with the chords on the screen as well, and it shows you several different versions of the chords, and it plays it at 3 different speeds. Then go and check that out. I've linked it in the corner of the screen up there. And if you're new to my channel, I do make play-along videos fairly regularly. There are several of them available, so you can practice all the different rhythms and lots of different interesting chord variants as well. So go and check those out. Like I say, they're linked up there. Anyway, so here is what The Rights of Man would sound like if I played it all very straight. Something like that. So you can hear in that version the quavers, the eighth beats for our American viewers, are kind of like dum bum 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 bum. They're all equally spaced. And another way that I quite like to think of this is if you say ticker tacker ticker tacker ticker tacker ticker tacker, they kind of sound like that, and that is the straight version. Here's the same thing, but really, really swung. So you can hear with that version, every second and fourth quaver has moved a little later to give you bum ba bum ba bum ba bum ba bum ba bum ba bum bum ba bum ba bum ba bum. So this version, I kind of like to think of it as being a bit like the way a horse walks. Ba 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 ba. Another way to think of it is a tick, attack, a tick, attack, a tick, attack, a tick, attack. Now if we adjourn to the computer, I can actually show you on the screen exactly what is happening in those two versions, so that you'll be able to visualise that a little bit more clearly. And then finally, in the last section of this video, I'll show you how you can reflect that in the way that you strum along with a player who plays the tune either straight or swung. So let's zap over to the computer and I'll show you how it looks on the screen. So here I've opened up Cubase and I'm just going to make a little demonstration for you to show you what I mean by the difference between swung and straight. So if I just play crotchets, these are what the Americans call quarter beats, and this is what your foot would be tapping on 1 and 3 if you were listening to a reel. So a reel goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it goes so fast that your foot stomps on 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, like that. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. In Irish and Scottish and general Celtic traditional melodies, you find that most of the melody is written using quavers, and a quaver is half as long as a crotchet. So, if you divide every single one of those crotchets into 2, you get quavers, and they're going to sound like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 so on. So in the average melody, you're going to hear quavers, but the thing that you can change about them to make them more swung or less so is the distance between those quavers. So if you're playing the tune very straight, you've got something like this, where your quavers are all equidistant from one another. And so when you hear a melody that's played straight, the quavers are like pa 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 pam. But if I go up here and I change the quantize, which is going to change the swing, I'm going to turn the swing up, and you can see as I do that, every other quaver is being moved closer to the one after it. So here is very straight, and here is very swung, and you can see here my second quaver, my fourth quaver, my sixth quaver, and my eighth quaver have all moved a lot later. So now, if you heard that melody, it would sound more like pa 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 pa. It's got a kind of funky groove to it. So if I click apply, plop, you can see my second and fourth quavers have moved over there, and I'll play that for you now so you can hear the difference, and then I'll play the straight version again so you can compare. So that's the swung version, and here comes the straight one again. So for the last section of this video, I'm going to be showing you how you can make your hornpipe strumming more or less swung to match up with whoever's playing the melody and how much swing they're putting into their interpretation of the tune. Now I have touched on how to play hornpipes and reels and talked a little bit about swing in one of my previous videos, and if you're a complete beginner with reel strumming or hornpipe strumming, you can check that video out in the corner. You'll find a little link to that video. But in this I'm just going to show you how I would play the hornpipe pattern with more swing and then with less swing, and then if you watch the other video that I mentioned before, you'll be able to find out exactly what the strums are for that and everything. So here is a very swung version of a chord progression that you could play to go along with the Rights of Man. And here is a similar chord progression, but I'll play it very straight. So hopefully there you can hear the difference between the straight strumming pattern and the swung strumming pattern. So the main difference is that my hand, where it's always going down, up, 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 down, up on every single quaver or eighth beat. But because of the way that those quavers are spaced, the second and fourth movements, the ups in other words, have become slightly later in the swung version. So in the straight version, it's going down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and in the swung version, it's going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that is what is giving fundamentally the same set of strums, that swung versus straight feeling. Now if you'd like to learn that pattern and learn more about that, then go and check out the video I mentioned before. It's linked in the top of the screen right now. Other than that, that is it for me from this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know anything you'd like me to make videos about. Let me know who you are, where you're playing. I'd love to hear from you. If you like my videos and you'd like to tune in for my free weekly live stream Celtic guitar lesson, it's called Folky Fridays. It's every Friday from 5:30 PM UK time. I also release one of these tutorials every Thursday evening at about 8:30, so check them out. I'm also working on a brand new series of play-alongs. They're going to be coming out soon, but I'm off for a charity cycle ride for Animal Free Research UK. That's over the next couple of weeks. I'm going to be cycling 300 miles through the Brecon Beacons, Snowdonia National Park, and the Peak District, all the way along the coast of Wales and across the Trans-Pennine Trail. So the work they're doing is absolutely amazing. Check them out. I'll put a link in the description box down below. You can find out more about my crazy cycle trip and sponsor me if you feel thus inclined. I'd love it if you did. Check all that out. It's in the box down below. Last thing from me then, you can buy my book, Backing Guitar Techniques for Traditional Celtic Music. It's got all the stuff I talk about in my tutorials, all the music theory you need to know, loads and loads of chord diagrams, example chords for loads of different tunes, just loads of great stuff. Go and check that out. That's also linked in a card in the corner of the screen, and you can buy it at my website, finaleguitar.co.uk/shop. That is it for this week. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'll be back next week with more Celtic guitar goodies, and by the time this tutorial comes out, I will be very nearly on the road. I'll be setting off what for you in the future will be this Monday. So next week's video will be scheduled in advance. By the time you watch next week's video, I'll probably be sat in a tent in the rain, cursing the mud and absolutely soaked. So hopefully it'll all go well, and I'll be back to make more videos in a couple of weeks. So thanks for tuning in. Hit the subscribe button for more, and all being well, I'll see you all very soon.